And yay, we're live. We are live.
Awesome.
We're not yet recording, but we are live. Actually, I'm going to switch off the phone. My phone was connected by the Bluetooth, and this is I must say, this is a bummer. This is a bummer because the Rodecaster, it actually can connect your phone. So, and my phone currently is muted on the hardware level from the Rodecaster. But what this means?
Tries to record your phone.
You can connect it. So if you want to, for example, call someone and record in the podcast, you can do it. So it has like a Bluetooth. But here is a downside. So it's a hardware muted right now. So if someone calls, I will not be able to hear them. They will be able to hear us. So if someone calls, I accidentally click accept, they will be just listening to everything. It's a fun, interesting thing. To some extent, might be even security problem. Okay, I'm almost ready to start recording. Almost. 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay, hello everyone.
Hello.
Same 2 people today. There will be more, I promise. There will be more, and this is the second episode of season who knows what. I don't know, second season or third or whatever. We actually just incrementally keep publishing, so from the non-intuitive beat, this is episode number 59. 59, this will be 59, yes. You know, I just realized that having English podcast makes you think twice about what you're saying because everyone who works with you can listen. So you need to be twice careful. It was much more simpler than the podcast in non-English. Not that I'm saying.
Trying to remember words that I forget.
Yes. You need to ask. We need to ask someone's wife. Maybe they can rotate to listen and record everything that we're saying that might be suspicious, and then do a debrief. We have tons of the topics for today. But a quick reminder, we actually have a Discord community where you can go and listen to us live and actually ask questions, give us suggestions, anything you want, effectively. So yes, consider to join. It's in the the show notes. Yes, that's the correct phrase. And there is not that many people yet, but hopefully we will grow the community. Oh, by the way, with this, we got our first like. Was it you? Did you just click like to this?
I didn't click anything.
Okay, so someone clicked the like on the video, but we have 0 people watching. How is this even possible? Yes. Anyway, coming back to the topic. I actually have listened us from the last recording, and it was fun because Yep.
Was it bad?
No. It's actually was decent. I mean, it was bad, but it was bad for different reasons. First of all, turns out that YouTube have stopped recording us around 11 minutes 20 seconds or something like that. That was horrible experience. I really hope it will not happen today. Obviously, we have many things that have recorded us in full, but the YouTube did not, and I don't know if I would still be working at Google. I would probably be opening a bug right now to them. What the hell have happened? But I don't know what's the reason. I know that we have a connectivity problem in the middle, so the live have stopped for a moment. But the live broadcasts have continued, but looks like recording have not. It is what it is. By the way, do you have a preference? Should we broadcast on X? Or should we keep broadcasting on the YouTube?
I don't know. I don't have X. YouTube is what I use usually.
Wait.
Do many people watch it on X? Anything on X?
Have you watched that the Carlson just did a Trump interview on X, and it's been viewed by 20 million people?
No, I watched all angry news, but I haven't watched the video itself.
Should we be like Carson? If Carson doing that, maybe we should.
It could be useful, not useful, but it's beneficial because like not many people there. So, but technically we can broadcast to both places, right? I mean, I don't think there's limitations.
It's more a software limitation, so I need to figure out if this is actually doable. Hopefully it is. I honestly do not know.
You will broadcast to YouTube. I will broadcast to X.
Okay. But tell me this. You just said something. You said that you then do not have X. What do you mean? Everyone has X. How is it possible?
I have an account somewhere, but I don't have application. Every time I try to use it, it drives me crazy, so I uninstall it.
Okay, fair enough. So you're going to the restroom. You need some time to pass. What do you use then, if not X?
Hacker News.
Okay, fine. Before jumping to actually more bigger topics, so to speak, I just wanted to share two interesting things. I recently have learned two things around the cars. One, that Tesla just got permission to build and drive-in fast charger movie in the restaurant in the LA. It looks fancy, obviously. I don't know if what they have published, people have published in the X or other places are accurate or not, but the idea is quite interesting. They're actually going to build diner and drive-in movie supercharger somewhere in the LA.
I don't get what does it mean. Supercharger is their charging station.
Yes.
But what they're building there?
Oh, so it's like a drive-in restaurant and movie theater with integrated supercharger. So you can drive in, watch movie, and at the same time charge.
Like I hear a joke that American person can be born, live their life, get married, and then die without getting us out of the car. So I think we're really close to this dream, to not getting out of a car completely.
But to be fair, the humanity made a step back because drive-in movie theaters, they kind of disappeared and they got resurrected roughly around the COVID time. Even around my small village, the city itself started having different movie drive-in sessions, so to speak, at night. It was quite fun. You driving, you sit in the car, you enabling you starting your radio and you're listening audio through the radio and they broadcast the film. And that was the moment that I realized, so I do actually have a use case for the normal audio system in the car. That is why.
But at the same time, I understand in the past, people went to movie theaters mostly because you don't have a nice TV or nice screen at house, right? So you go somewhere to watch new movie. Mm-hmm. Obviously, exclude exclude couples who just want to spend time together, in the car. But nowadays you can watch things at home, right? And if you go to movie theater, in some sense, it's an experience, right? You see other people, you laugh with them. And if you go to drive-in movie theater, you just sit in the car.
Okay.
I can say this can sit at home, right? At a couch.
Wait, let me ask you this. In how many cinema theaters you can have sex in?
Yeah, but again, I can do it at home.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. It's not much different. And also, I think it would be weird because other people sitting in other cars.
That's true. But here is a follow-up question. What do you think the chances you have more if you're inviting someone to go for the first date to your home to watch movie or the drive-in cinema?
That's a tough question. I guess it depends.
Agree.
I actually like idea of open cinema. I would just be without cars, people sitting on the grass watching movie. That's a pretty fun experience.
Again, when COVID started, we actually went to one. There was in San Francisco. They were doing that on the stadium, baseball stadium, actually. They created a huge screen and they were selling the tickets. You can actually either be on the grass where they used to play baseball or in the seating section, they would play the movie. I think it was Bohemian Rhapsody about the Queen movie that they were
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Audio was shitty, horrible. But maybe we should do a startup around that. Okay, another thing about the cars. So recently, the GM General Motors had an announcement and has revealed the Hummer upgrade. This is effectively installing to the latest new EV Hummer, which, by the way, is an amazing car. It's just sick. It's just amazing. I highly recommend you to everyone who have not seen. If you haven't seen the Hummer EV, just go and Google it to look it for yourself. I genuinely love Hummers, but Hummer EVs, oh my God, that's the car that one day will be in my garage. So what they did announce, they have released a special stuff that you can install on your Hummer, and effectively you would change it to an RV-like thing. So it's made of the carbon, it has the solar panels, you can sleep inside, it's actually have a height where you can stand if you want. You can sleep, you can prepare food and have electricity, you have water, so... I don't know, I do like camping, so this feels like an amazing way of camping. What do you think?
Couple of things. I find this like a top built things on car. It's like a bit harder to like when you're like going for long trips. Not hard, like a bit less comfortable. But I think it's really nice. So what's tricky, right? Like if you go to some, let's say not... super wild camping, right? Just like to some forest or something, you can bring just a tent with you and spend like 15 minutes disassemble it. And it's fine. If you go hardcore mountain stuff where you just like don't have any place to put and you need to like assemble everything very quickly, then maybe electric EV could be a risk to get without electricity because you're stuck somewhere. I don't know. My experience with like a long camping was only Iceland, and like I remember places where like no electricity for a really long time, and I'm not sure like I don't know.
I'm trying to find the
I
range.
guess like if you have enough battery, it's not a problem.
Battery size is not the only thing that you need to be careful about, because if these things weight like a 5 car together, so you need to spend tons of electricity to just move it around. So I think the range is 380 miles, which is not bad, but let me ask...
You mean it's more heavier than cars of the same size but gas?
Oh, yes, of course, because it has tons of the batteries. Just look at that, 200 kilowatt the battery size. If you put 200 kilowatt and battery size on my Bolt, it can drive probably 600 miles like nothing. My Bolt has 65 kilowatt and it can drive 250 miles. 60, so it can do around 1,000 miles with this size of the batteries. And the mostly weight is because of the batteries. It's a tank. That's why a lot of people actually got upset, because the whole idea of we need to be eco-friendly, but in this case you're spending tons of the electricity just to move it around. That's why I love this car. It's AV, but at the same time eco-friendly people hate it.
Yeah, I think like attachment is nice if you can rent it and people can install it, because like if you don't use it, you need to store it somewhere, and it's pretty huge.
Come on, if you have money for this type of the car, you can hire 3 people that will disassemble it for you in your garage and move it somewhere that you don't have to see it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Anyway, that was our second warm-up topic. There was, I don't think there was many other topics. Let's move to something bigger. My friend, do you want to start or? No,
you start. I see you have like debates and other things there.
Yes, that was the first thing that I want to mention. There was a debate, first Republican debates that have happened. I'm trying to copy paste the link to open it. That have happened several days ago. You can watch all of them, of course, on the Fox News. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think that Democrat debates have happened, but you can already start assessing the lay of the land for the presidential campaign that's about to happen in the US next year.
For a person who is not very familiar with American politics, this debate, is it about different Republicans trying to become a nominee for president, like between?
Yes.
So like debate, essentially they try to get votes inside Republican Party, right?
Yep.
I see.
By the way, a very small pivot from this topic. We have a comment. Dennis, first of all, thank you. Mentioned, I think you forgot to start recording. Two things I want to mention. We do record right now. And B, where are you watching me from? Because my recording is a hardware button here. So if you have seen me not clicking it, this means that you are somewhere around me. That's freaking scary. But nevertheless, thank you for double checking. We do have a recording. Anyway, coming back to the debate. Sorry, have I answered your question?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, that's actually people who are sharing their opinions about everything. And surprise, Trump actually have not participated. But what surprised me the most is the absolutely new candidate that injected himself to this process fairly recently, and it was a roller coaster emotionally because I started watching it from, oh my God, this is the candidate that should be the next Republican nominee, from I'm probably not think so, and all the way to, oh God, no, I hope this is never will be the president of the United States. And the guy has a name Vivek. So the Vivek, you can think about him as almost as, even though the president has to be born in US, you can think about this guy as immigrant because he literally was born 2 years after his parents moved to US. So from that perspective, he just qualified for a small margin. He's one of the youngest candidates right now. And what struck the most from the Vivek, Ramasamy, I actually don't remember his last name. It's quite interesting. That's all I can say. But so what is interesting from his campaign, unlike other candidates, is how concrete he is. So he would go and say, I actually will allow more fossil fuels, I will build more nuclear plants, I will ban all these different gender laws. So he's constantly very concrete about what he will be doing, unlike other candidates that would be wishy-washy, saying that, oh, I pledge my work to the US people, I will make the life better, and I will reverse everything that Biden was doing, but nothing concrete. And the Vivek was pushing exactly that. He would be saying, I don't understand what you're saying. This is like a bullshit slogan, so to speak. Here is what I will do, and be concrete. So that
I remember Trump was concrete. He wanted wall with Mexico.
Man, almost each second candidate in this debate was saying, I will finish the wall. I will finish the wall.
Wait, but is it started? Because I missed that part.
Oh yes, they build a wall. Like the wall is covering, I don't know, 80 or 90%. But the biggest problem that they covered 80 or 90% that was simpler to cover, and probably not even the place where everyone crossing the borders. So yes, it's a fun project where they wasted tons of the money with very suboptimal results. Let's put it this way. You're actually right. He's actually looking up to the Trump. I think he mentioned that he was one of the greatest presidents that the US ever had or something like that. So he's kind of looking up to the Trump. Now, and slowly in the debate, from listening what he wants to do, my perception starts shifting. Obviously, the first mood killers that have happened, he immediately mentioned, oh, we need to give more to Hawaii. That's why we're going to completely stop doing any help to Ukraine. Like that was for me, okay. I will try all my keep my personal opinions at bay right now, try to at least understand the reasoning. But his reasoning was mostly that US should withdraw from external politics and focus more on internal. So he no longer thinks that US can project power in the way that it used to be in other countries and at the same time be successful internally. So this is more or less between the line of where he was standing. And then he started going to think like he was... he have not mentioned that he completely doesn't believe in the global warming and this is happening because of what we're doing, but he said that he would, for example, completely reverse any fossil fuels norm and will allow to burn fossil fuels in any amounts that we want to speed up the economy effectively. So things like that slowly, went me from, yes, that's a Republican future to, oh my God, I hope not. I hope not. And then I learned more. I retweeted in my several Twitter threads that turns out this guy was running tons of the scam companies for produce pump and dump strategy, and this is how he got rich effectively. So,
but is it illegal or it illegal? Like, I mean,
that is completely illegal until you would do it outside of US, and this is what he did. He would bootstrap companies somewhere outside of US. He would buy a patent or on a drug that is very cheap because turns out that is useless and unusable. Then would try to create a hype around this company that would be out of US company and then dump all the shares when all this would be uncovered, so to speak. So that was he more or less schema. I might be blind. I might be blinking on the details, but yeah, just go to my Twitter if someone wants to learn more. I just retweeted the more detailed investigation of how he did it.
So you disappointed with him. Is there any candidate that you liked who was talking?
I need to now listen. I really need to listen. Honestly, no. The rest of the candidates mostly were very high level. I hate it when they speak in high level terms without concrete things that they would be doing. So yeah, I need to listen carefully because obviously when you like someone so much, you start over optimizing and biasing towards person and memorizing only what this person said. I didn't think that I would say that, but I'm looking forward to listening Democratic debates. Maybe they have someone reasonable there.
So this debate's like how much time it takes? Is like one episode or is it just like multiple days running? Is it like all of them or just like one of them at the time?
There will be more of them because as they progressed, the people who actually clearly are not the winners or not supported by people as they progress their campaign will be withdrawing. So right now you have the full pack. You have almost everyone. Half a year from now, like in the winter, so to speak, you probably will have less people. And in the end, you will have one nominee from both sides and they will do the debate. And it shows because, as I mentioned, Trump have not even bothered to show up to this specific debate. I think Biden will not show up on the first debate from the Democrats either. So they probably will show up slightly later. It's almost like, they are in its own league. So when you reach that league, you first need to win opponents on this level, and then maybe you will allow to debate the chosen one.
Yeah, I think it's important that, like people challenged by other people who are their competitors. Because that's what essentially happens to Russia, right? Like Putin never showed on debate. So people kind of assume that he's cool while he's not. And that's very stupid.
Yeah, agree. Okay, so what else on this? Oh, yes, final things. The interview. Let me find the link. So the interview that the Trump actually have not shown up the debate, but he actually did the interview that you can go next and watch. There is many controversially behind this because, it says 257 million views, which is actually amount of views of the tweet. But I think Elon Musk constantly using this views number is how many people actually viewed the video, which is a bullshit. I don't know why he's doing that. He feels like a smart person. He feels like he probably do have an understanding that not everyone who watched the tweet actually watched the video. Even I already opened the tweet in 3 different places, so it's +3 views, so to speak, but I had 0 play button clicks so far. I don't know, this jeopardizes overall feeling about the guy. What's your take about the overall this guy?
Which one? Trump or Musk?
Oh, Musk, yes.
I think, many talented people who like very good at something, they started to assume they're good at everything. And often they assume they're good at public stuff, and that's where it goes sideways. I mean, Trump, not the first one, right? It's like, it happens often with musicians or with, pretty much with anyone, right? Like people get some fame, get some publicity from what they're doing, and they try to essentially capitalize on it, right? But it's not always
Yep.
a good idea. So I think that's what happened with Musk, right? He did a lot of cool stuff on engineering side. He ran the companies which are important, and then he realized, okay, now I can go like politics. Now I can do other stuff because I'm smart, and it may or may not work.
That's true. As you know, someone pointed out, I do not remember who said that, but someone who is close to Musk, that Musk deeply care about saving the world as long as he will play the critical role in this saving. And that's probably would show his main line of reasoning, so to speak. There was this article in the New Yorker, I need to copy it to our show notes, so I will publish it later, about the Elon Musk and how actually much power he gained and how he can make decisions about the thing that not all the government can allow. And it used to be before, in the history of US, and then US companies would be pro-US government, and now is the first time where the US government is not sure, looks like, if the Musk is actually pro-US or not. And pro-US might mean many things, because he might say pro-US but then be not pro-government US. And as Musk have mentioned that he somewhere to his friend. And this article is amazing. It's actually a collection of different quotes from different people who were with the Musk during many different situations, and they showing how much geopolitical influence he's saying. And at some point, US government officials start treating him more like embassy worker who is a representative of the government overseas, because he effectively can almost act as one.
I think it's not the first time. I'm trying to remember other like rich people who other thing. So I remember like Richard Branson, right? Like Virgin Company.
Oh yeah, yep.
Great, right? Like there was a story where he tried to get like some hostages from Baghdad like a long time ago, I think, if I'm not mistaken, right? So it's not the first time this is happening, right? And I don't think it's a problem, like unless people not playing against law. I think I don't see like a huge problem. Yeah. If Musk started to influence politics in a way that he banned law for him, that would be an issue, right?
That's true, but if you read everything that have happened, especially in the context of Starlink and what was happening in Ukraine, you already can see that not that he was bending the politics, he was bending the wheel in some cases. He was not immediately supporting him. So it's not a red flag per se, but what they gave U.S. government post, the fact that then they asked for help, it was not immediate help. It was he was thinking about that. And there was really not much they could have done, and there was not that many alternatives that they could go and ask for, especially in the Starlink, the product around the Starlink. So that was an interesting case, because you cannot overnight deploy hundreds of satellites to enable similar protected connectivities.
Sure, but on the wave of capitalism and like competition, right? Like now people see, okay, like if you have chance to rely on Musk and something, it may be not a good idea, right? And the same with the Starlink. Many countries try to deploy their own satellites, like satellite fleets and so on. And I think like it's pretty much like personal capital, right? Like he gained it by doing something good, but when he doing something bad, people just start like, okay, we don't like him more and more. And the question, like, is he on the level where like nothing really can hurt him? I don't think so.
That's true. And this is, we are getting back to a more philosophical question. If you have developed your capital and your influence through doing the good things, are you allowed to use this in any way you wish, especially if your capital or your influence now is so big that you can do whatever you want?
But when you're saying, is it allowed, do you mean like from moral perspective, from law perspective, from whatever?
So Let's have a more specific example. If you're speaking about software product, software that's recording audio, video, right? I can easily go from one task tracker to another, and I'm doing so because some of the companies have not supported Ukraine. Like I mentioned, Notion. I moved away from Notion exactly for those reasons. Back to things. But the cost of switching is acceptable. I don't have to spend billions of dollars, so to speak, to switch. Now, the question, if imagine that we have another company that's developed something really good and use capitalistic way of building this type of the wealth, but suddenly decided to use it in the way that conflict with current ideas and beliefs of the society. Like what would be canonical capitalistic way? Just let it, because you cannot switch from one satellite provider to another. There is no another at this point.
That's true, right? I think from capitalistic, like if we talk about theoretical capitalism, right? Ideally, all bad behaviors should be punishable by some way, or they're not bad behaviors. I don't know. Let's assume like someone, like company, right? They start like selling your data, and we consider it as bad. If we consider it as bad, we should go to our government and do whatever like Europe done with GDPR, right? And then government goes and punish company because they sell data. They punish company lose money, like investors unhappy and so on. They change like whoever rules the company. If we're saying about things that are not under law, right? Okay, this company support Ukraine, this doesn't do anything, and you personally feels like it's related to you, so for you it's decision to change. Okay, I'm trying to get this like line right, like, but you may not change because it's not viable, right? Like from money standpoint. I think it's like depending on how bad things and how you consider, right? Like some people will move, like from Musk again. Maybe someone who really needs his satellites will stay with him even if he like behaving not really good in a moral way. But there will be someone who consider like differently and change it, and the more he's doing, the less customers he would have. I'm not sure like I get this idea, but like it still should be something, right? Like if person behave in a bad way, like we can assume he will continue to do it.
That's true. Anyway, what do you think we move on?
Yes. I'm not a huge fan of Musk, so or rather I'm not on any side of Musk. Like he's doing what he's doing.
That's true. He is what he is. And you know, and many people that got famous, what quite often folks do not understand that if you have a closer look to all of us, we are all good in something and we are all shitty in something. There is no one sane. And a lot of people who got famous or got rich, they just getting under this scrutiny when everyone looking at them and everyone trying to find even the smallest thing that they said. You probably can find any viewpoint that you can attach to me based on something that I said in my life on this podcast. You can paint the picture of any person you want just by taking my words and showing them out of the context. And this is what's happening with Musk and other folks, in my opinion. But yeah, who am I? Okay. So the second topic I wanted to share, I was thinking how to show that, and actually I have zero ideas how to show that, so I will not be showing that, but I will vocalize that. I finally have released my first ChatGPT plugin, an extension that finally works completely. It has been published to the marketplace, so you can go and look on the marketplace. The reason why I cannot show it, because if I will log into my ChatGPT, you will see the history of the chat on the left, and I'm not sure that I'm ready to show you that much intimacy in this show. So no ChatGPT things for you. Actually, I can take a screenshot from one place to another. So ChatGPT has a plugin. So first of all, what is plugins for ChatGPT? My friend, do you know what plugins are doing for ChatGPT?
So my understanding is it's essentially just API that ChatGPT, like third-party API, or in this case your API, that ChatGPT will use.
Yes, that is actually right to the chase, straight to the chase, so to speak. This is a service that has API that you're describing in the plain language to the ChatGPT and saying, here's an API that you can call in order for me to do some actions, and they
Do you know where I can enable plugins?
You have to subscribe.
To plugin itself?
No, you have to subscribe for ChatGPT Plus.
I already subscribed.
Oh, then you need to go to settings, and there is experimental beta features. You can just click on enable. They by default are not showing beta features.
And they enabled. I just don't see where I can find your plugin.
Oh, okay. So let's do it live. So
actually, if you open ChatGPT window,
yes,
there's like a panel, left panel. You can collapse it. But you still need access to that button.
Yeah, I first need to get to this button. Yes. So if you will. Let me show it right now live by the screenshot. So if you create new chat and if you click on GPT-4, you will have plugins over here.
Oh, okay. I found it.
Yes. Now you can access, if you click on the button right below, scroll all the way down, there is a plugin store. Let me show you.
Okay. How is your plugin called?
Movies Detective.
So you can actually do it, I think, if you open ChatGPT and collapse left panel. Movies Detective. Okay.
But this is a thing that I need first to open, then collapse, and this will be part of the recording. That's otherwise, yes. Or maybe I can show the different screen, but I might mess up. Oh, wait. I know. Give me a second.
You can tap in the Firefox.
Yeah, I will reshare different window. We're going to do it live. Okay, so here is a ChatGPT. So here is what you can do here. Effectively, it works in a very simple way. You can, in any chat where this plugin is enabled, you can effectively tell to the plugin any reviews about any movies. For example, I have watched Barbie movie, and I loved it. Please record. You need to explicitly hint that you want this feedback to be preserved. So when you're saying that, it effectively will go to the plugin, and when you're installing the plugin, it will ask you to sign up with your Google account. Because it's need to know which.
I need to ask it, please record at the end.
So the ChatGPT need to make a decision to use this plugin. The plugin has an API to record, so if you just say the feedback, it might derive your intention based on the fact that this is a plugin that enabled, and this you're saying to it out of the blue that you like the movie. So probably you want it to be recorded. But the thing is, it's not always will derive this intent, unfortunately. And I'm still working to update the prompt on the plugin side to make it more prominent.
So I should put a review that why I like movie and so on, right? Or just that I'm like it in general?
It literally records the string. So the more you give the metadata, the better it will be able to assist you in the future. But you can tell anyway. It's actually have a pre-processing stage where the ChatGPT itself will decide what to send on the API. So it will take your review, it will extract your review from it. So in this particular case, I said I watched Barbie movie and I loved it, and it sent it, loved it as the only line there.
But does it really check what movie it is? I mean, if I say I liked Terminator movie, and that's it, will it understand that it's a science fiction with robots, action, and so on?
Yes, just because it got trained on all the data before, so it's not going to, because it doesn't have internet access, it obviously will not know about latest movie. That is true. So in this case, Barbie, it might not actually, for Barbie, it probably knows because the information about our Barbie was released before the film got out. So you know what, I actually think it knows about everything, because even the movie that you have watched, very likely information about this movie already known to ChatGPT just because it was released before, teasers and many other things. So at any point, go ahead.
Okay. So it actually, okay, got it. So it derives information from its own memory. So
exactly. Yes. Now, at any point of time in any chat, it doesn't have to be this one. You're opening new chat. You can say, based on my past movies preferences, can you suggest a movie for tonight? Something light, comedy that I have not watched. already. So you need to be explicitly telling it, go and fetch everything that I told you before. If you will just say, I want your recommendation, it might not derive that it's need to go and fetch. And this is a problem because unfortunately in ChatGPT today, you cannot specify in your API wording saying, if your user asks you to do blah, fetch this API. That's actually forbidden. You have to just specify what API is doing. So in my case, I specifying that API returning all previous reviews. So now this means that user have to explicitly set something like fetch previous reviews like that. So I'm now saying, okay, based on my past movies preference, do that. It's now fetching everything that I told it. And it suggested watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a light comedy tonight that I actually have not watched. This is absolutely true. I have not watched it at any point. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off, whatever. I guess that's the movie that I will be watching tonight. Feel good moments, good mix of humor and feel good moments. Given that it's not on your watch list, it should be a new experience for you. Would you like more suggestions? Actually, let me say yes. Yes, more. Let's see what else it will give me. Then you can say, give me 10. Give me 10 suggestions. So obviously, Office Space, The Intern, with Robert De Niro, and you can specify which year of the movie, IMDb rating, whatever, because it does know that all that.
Okay, that's interesting. I will try it.
And for me, that was, let me share the Firefox. For me, this was an experience to making sure that I'm building full pipeline with the identification in the middle, because I actually do have a service in the middle in between. Even though it's transparent when you're clicking authenticate, you're getting the Google thing, it's actually redirects you from my service because it's a very thin. So now theoretically, I can do a lot of stuff like you can use Jest on your local machine that will be pulling tasks from the ChatGPT, from my service, and then you can install plugin on the ChatGPT, and you can be saying, update Java on my machine. It will be through the plugin sending the bash commands that should be executed locally on your machine and go back.
That sounds scary. I remember that was a Terminator 3 plot. AI get access to some local machine in a military basement,
and from there you can go to the internet, and here is how it was done.
I'm really looking forward for all kind of different attacks vectors on this point. Like when someone get access to not like sources, but rather to text interface and try to get into systems and so on. Would be interesting to watch.
Yeah, and since you mentioned about the security part, when I was doing the plugin, and let me show you this example. So the ChatGPT plugin examples has a very specific example how you can develop the plugins, and one of the example is with quote unquote authentication. So let me see the example. There was a to-do list or something. So example of the to-do list, yes. So they have an example with to-dos. And if you look on this example, one of the endpoint has the following endpoint, to-do/string username. So when you have an official example that giving you this, the first assumption that yours
username will be correct username.
Exactly that. Of course, the ChatGPT will provide you username of that user so you can store it in database or whatever. Turns out, no. It's effectively, if you implement to-dos that they have here and you will try to use the ChatGPT will ask you, what is your username? You will have to type it in chat. That will be the string that it will be sending. So,
yeah, I think it's, it's fine, like considering how it works. It just, people need to be aware, and someone won't be aware of this. It just will happen.
I'm pretty sure, manager on the ChatGPT implemented that, then went on to his wife and said, look, here is a to-do thing, so you can use it. And then next day he would be opening a laptop and saying, ChatGPT, can you show me all to-dos of my wife? Just out of curiosity. And it actually can. This is how it's designed to work. Yeah, this is just hilarious. Anyway, I spent so much time on this. Honestly, the first half an hour after I deployed this to prod, I could not believe that this is the case. Like literally, I could not believe. This time, you look at this documentation, they finally added with no OS. But even this adding is not clear, because no AUS doesn't mean that they will not be sending you ID of the user. They just mean that they are not authenticating on your API. Your API is public. But I still assume that this line or something will
But technically, is there like any AUS where a service actually can check this is ChatGPT and this is a user from ChatGPT, or there's no information?
With authentication that I created, this is effectively the case, because you're actually doing two-side OAuth. You're doing one from ChatGPT to my service, and my service immediately bypassing exactly same to Google. But from technical standpoint, it's two authentication happening at the same time.
Yeah, I understand part about like authorization. I'm saying like whatever ChatGPT calls these APIs, do you receive anything besides prompt like that? First, probably you should receive something that it's ChatGPT, right? Somehow.
Nope. You will not. They intentionally trying to give as less information as possible.
But how do you distinguish this from completely random call from someone using curl?
Oh, you setting the what's I forgot the proper engineering name, where you limiting the DNS name and from which you accepting the request.
So at least you have source. Okay, at least you know that coming from their service, right?
Exactly.
But you don't know what exact user is doing it.
You're absolutely right. If I would disable the course checks, then anyone with curl can effectively call this service, and this is just.
But what about another authorization? So right now, when I'm typing and say please record, you somehow understand that it's me. How do you get this information?
Correct. This is because, as I mentioned, there is a two authentication happening at the same time. So first, when you're clicking, it's actually OpenAI initiating the two-step authentication, and I'm just bypassing it to the Google. It's more than bypassing, but for the simplicity. And when the Google authentication is finished, now in my database, I can say, okay, this ID that I'm going to use in the cache of the session, that authenticated cache on OpenAPI, corresponds to this unique ID from Google. Because
that's what my question is. The first one, cache ID you mentioned, or like there is some information, some session information who is calling you, right?
And that is the problem. Session information is ephemeral. It will change. So you have to throw each, and that's why I need Google, because they will, the OpenAI under no circumstances will give you any unique permanent ID of the user. They only give you ephemeral during authentication. So you have to ask user to authenticate somewhere else, like Google in this case, that will give you a permanent ID that always will be constant. Because OpenAI under no circumstances give you the ID of the user.
But when they call your API, they have some header or something that contains some information, like session ID, whatever.
Correct. This is because of OAuth, and that ID is temporary. So each time from temporary ID, you need to derive permanent ID, and this temporary ID will be changed under next authentication that will happen.
Okay.
So it's not like they sending it; it's you setting it, and you will be in charge of setting it. And to be fair, the whole idea with Google, the only reason why I'm doing Google authentication, I need a permanent user ID. They explicitly in their doc saying we're not going to give you, because theoretically you can, if they have this API, you theoretically can authenticate on OpenAPI login, then request some Microsoft Azure service that tells you give me unique user ID. That's all I need. I don't need any other scope. I just need unique user ID, and then use it in my database. They don't have it.
I think it's maybe because of PII data, because once you're storing identificator of user which long term, and you can identify user, like it gets a lot of headache. I don't think they make it like for pretty much. It's just like we don't want to deal with PII. Let's just like don't provide this feature.
Yeah, that's true, because even on Google, when you authentication, it tells you which information my service will be able to derive from you. Right now, I'm only asking scope that have access to your Gmail ID, effectively. And ID means that I need to, I can derive your email address, and I have your hash of that email address. They probably don't even have UI for that. So maybe in the future, I actually clearly can see how in the future they will have it, but whatever. Okay, so that is there. It's actually working. I like it. There is many users, and when I'm looking at the database on the films reviews, I see already quite interesting use cases. If you will just dump a list of movies in the ChatGPT right now and says save, store all of that, it actually can do chain of calls. It can do 20, 30 calls to my plugin, one after one after one after one.
Interesting.
Yep.
So it understands that API only like per one movie and dubs.
Yep.
If you create API that's the same but as an array or list, will it actually chunk it?
I think it
properly?
will. I think it will. Yes,
That's
I
nice.
think it will. Speaking about API, since we started that topic, before moving forward, there is a huge big deal. OpenAI just have released tuning for ChatGPT. Fine tuning, yes. This is a huge deal. Let me go. I completely forgot about this. It's not even on the topic line, but since we started speaking about Movie Beacon, I'm going to add it here. The thing is that before that, you didn't have almost any opportunity to tune your chat model. And
Is it? I remember they had some APIs. I mean, when I was looking at API like a few months ago, I remember there was something about tuning.
Correct. That is about embeddings. Embeddings always was there. The chat was never there. And because of that, the way how it used to work, if you want to create any internal AI helper, let's say you want to create your internal helpers that will be able to answer a question about your internal docs. What you have to do, you have to train embeddings, and embeddings is effectively a model for doing the search. So then you can use ChatGPT in the following format. Someone comes in, new developer, saying, "Oh, I want to build a new CI system," and you taking his question, you converting it through the ChatGPT. You saying, "Okay, I have an internal Google search system for the doc. Can you take this user request and convert it to a query?" It will convert you to a query. Now you can use this query to send to embeddings. Embeddings will effectively give you back a chunks of the documents that potentially describe answer to this query. Now we can go back to ChatGPT and says, here is a snippets from the search system that I got. Can you now answer the question that was an input? So it was like 5 request process that was worked reasonably well. Now you can literally take a page, says ChatGPT, build a set of questions that can be questioned and has answered this question on this page. It will tell you the questions, and now you can train it. You can feed any questions with a response from the page to it, and will memorize it.
I see. But you still need these questions, like prepare this data with questions and answers, right?
Correct, but you can make it in an automatic way. Like page, ChatGPT can prepare questions on this page, answers, you can feed it, you can train it, and then based on this, it will be better. But where it's even better, if you want to enforce a specific output format. So let's assume you're building a service on ChatGPT and you want it to output JSONs. That's what it shines, because you can actually give it several examples and reinforce this requirement by training it. Because in my experience, when I have a service where I require ChatGPT, I have this in Jessica Auto service where it goes and has a chain of thoughts where it has a long-term memory, short-term memory, and this means that output of ChatGPT is JSON. So it works 95-98% of the time, but there is 2 or 5 obviously that lead the complete crash because it's produce a completely unreadable JSON, and that's it. You can't parse it. So in this specific case, if you do tune it from 95, it's theoretical, you can go to 99 dot something there and work much better because you're reinforcing the model that you have to do that. It's much cheaper than inference. So it is what it is. Yes.
Okay, I need to read about this. I was just like to run on some forums data or some like a particular text to get it around.
Yeah, it's quite interesting development. Let's put it this way. With that, let's actually go to local Llama. We actually have a question from Dennis about the Llama 2, Llama 3, and do we have an experience? But before jumping to that, there is a sub-question. How better is GPT-4 with 3.5? And I can say much better. Overall,
it's I mean, pretty much 3.5 usable for very simple things. It just I don't even use 3.5 anymore. I expect it gives me like some crappy answers that doesn't really help.
100%. I want to agree, and I actually agreeing with everything that you just vocalized. GPT-4 is unbelievably better than 3.5. There is a small caveat that I want to put in. For the last several months, it got worse. Noticeably worse. I noticed that, and many people on the internet have noticed that, but I assume that 3.5 got worse as well. So from that perspective, I still think that the difference is the same.
Yeah, I think like the 3.5 only usable if you need like really large speed for simple questions. That's probably only.
Yeah, everything is better with GPT-4. Like everything is better with Bluetooth, so everything is better with GPT-4. I remember you had a question about Llama, my friend. So what's about Llama?
I had a question.
I think you mentioned something, haven't you?
I mean, I was using it for a while. I actually had the same question, right? Like I wanted to fine tune it, and like I don't really know anything about it, so I was able to install Llama on my MacBook. Mm-hmm. I was able to play it. I think I had only 13 billions model. It feels like GPT 3.5, so you can ask for simple facts, not more than this. It would be cool, really, to teach it to on my own data.
You know, on that part, so I, as I mentioned, I submit the PR for them to Llama for the MacBook, and I don't know if they accepted it or not. Maybe I need to check. And then obviously after that, they have released Mini Llama or something like that, Llama CPP. They even have released the Go Llama. Go Llama is effectively based on CPP. Go Llama 2 because based on the Llama CPP, and I tried to use it because everyone's saying how amazing it is, and I heard it from you that you also used it locally and it worked. Now, what I have found that they're using a weird Llama 2. They're not using the one that Facebook provides. They're all saying, go and download from Karpati, who used to be a guy, the god of the AI in Tesla, and now he's somewhere else. And download from the Karpati this submodel, trained submodel, which is trained on some books or some stories. I don't even remember where, but I wanted to use it with the Llama from Facebook. That one, Llama 2, that trained on the Facebook data. And I still haven't figured out how. It just doesn't work.
But I don't remember which one model for Llama CPP, which one I downloaded. I found like a bunch of models. Some of them were trained, but some of them were just like, hey, this is the same model that was published, but we just like changed this quant size or something. I don't remember this.
Quantization probably.
Yep. They reduce it.
If you have the pointers anyway, please let me know, because I was not able to make this work with official Llama 2 model. Probably they changed the format, and this one that they're recommending downloaded, this clearly trained on something that is useful in my context. It's not producing the chat data. You have to. When you have a model that completes your text, it's actually not useful for chat. You have to create some interesting abstraction, interesting properties. For example, people before the ChatGPT was a thing, when large language model start showing their really nice results, people start playing with it by effectively creating pre-prompts, saying, "Oh, here is a story or conversation between two people." Then they inject one person, they will ask you to complete. So they were trying to mimic a book type of the writing, and then ask for the model to complete, because this is the biggest thing in language model that people quite often do not understand. If you use language model, if you ask it to complete question, what is the capital of France, it will probably complete it with different questions. It was talking what is the capital of USA, what is the capital of Canada, because it's not trained for answering the question, training completing text. So in order, and this is that type of the model. It's trained on the text, you have to complete the text. So you either need to have a wrapper around it, or you need to find a different model. And Facebook do have released both versions for chat and usual large language model. That's why I'm so eager to try the one that Facebook actually have released.
I see. Yeah, I sent you a link to one that I used. I'm not sure, like it's called Alpaca, but I'm not very proficient in these things. For me, they just like looks. I was very impressed that I could even stitch them together so to make it work locally, because I didn't have high hopes.
Yeah, it's working reasonably well. Reasonably well. By the way, since we're in that, I do want super quickly maybe double check the Facebook GitHub around Llama, and to see if these interesting people have accepted my pull request or not. And I would say that probably they not. Yay, they have not accepted. Yes. And they haven't accepted because it's actually partially broken. They have two models, and what I hate in the world of deep learning, that time to time there is so many hacks inside. So they actually have data structures that is different depending on the model that you're using. In one case it's an object, in another case it's list. Like, what? Okay. Why? And when you're trying to refactor it, there is so many knowledge that are just missing. And anyway, that's a different story.
Should we wrap up?
Actually, yes, 1 hour exactly. Let's finish. Do you have anything you want to share in the end?
No, let's keep it for next episodes.
Okay, thank you, folks. It was amazing spending Friday evening with you, and I will see you in the next week, same time, same place. See you.
Bye.
Okay, thank you folks for sticking around. Just several seconds. I'm going to start rendering in a moment. I want to finish everything right now. I don't want to wait. And obviously you need to have some additional bonuses for sticking around, for coming to the live. You know what? This will be the Non-Intuitive Beats Season 3, Episode 2. And yeah, this is episode 2 of season 3. Okay, let's render it. Oh, Jesus, rendering is broken. And I know why. Rendering is broken because I'm still using audio device. Oh, no. Different reason. Reaper. Sorry, folks. I know you might have heard that. Nothing fancy going to happen here. So you can go and do whatever you wanted to do this evening. Nothing new will be happening. I'm still here, and by the way, let me say thank you for Dennis. Huge thank you for sticking around, for watching live. There are Llama 2 versus GPT 3.5. That's actually pretty much on the same level. 3.5, Llama 2 is more or less equivalent to 3.5. They're promising Llama 3 will be analog of GPT-4, so it's not better, not worse. You can train it. That's a good part. You can locally obviously train it. That's a nice thing. But apart from that, okay, the rendering have been complete. Now I need to upload it. I'm going to upload it. Where is my show notes? If something's still here, tell me what should be the name of this episode if you have been listening. Anyway, let me just stop it. The show have ended for quite some time. So thank you folks for everyone who've been here. See you next time.